Hi, my name is Lilia Voberg, and today we're going to be discussing mass media bias in politics. Let's go ahead and start by looking at America's current trust in the media. Americans' trust in the media has slowly been dropping over time, but the 2016 election campaign could be the biggest reason, if not the number one reason, their trust has dramatically dropped this year. Art Swift, who is a managing editor at the Gallup Polling, published an article in the fall of 2016 in which he shared that America's overall trust in the media is at an all-time low of 32%, and that Republicans who trust in the media has dropped from 32% in 2015 to 14% in 2016. Many Republicans and conservative activists claim that Hillary Clinton has received nothing short of positive media coverage, while Donald Trump has received very negative media coverage. I think it's clear to tell that much of the overall decline has been mainly from Republicans. Perhaps it could be due to Donald's very outspoken criticism of media during the 2016 presidential campaign. However, America's trust in the media hasn't always been this low. I believe the biggest reason we are seeing a rapid decline in the Americans who trust the media is because the news media has become more partisan as time has gone on. According to Chuck Stearns in his book Mass Media Revolution, ever since major news sources have started 24/7 coverage, news has become more opinionated and less factual. In the past, news sources were limited, which meant the coverage was limited. This made very little room for bias. Now, let's look at some specific examples of how mass media bias plays out in politics. In 2015, the Huffington Post published an article expressing they would no longer be covering Donald Trump in the political section, but that he would go next to the Kardashians in the entertainment section. They went on to explain why they did this by stating that Donald Trump was not actually running a campaign, but a sideshow. In Chapter 10 of the Mass Media Revolution, Chuck Stearns talks about the different types of bias and how the news tends to become biased whether it's intentional or not. One type of bias is partisan bias, which involves a blatant statement with an explicit endorsement of which party to vote for. I believe this article is a very perfect example of partisan bias. The Huffington Post did not have any legitimate grounds for making such a bold statement, which makes them clearly biased against Trump, thus giving his opponent the upper hand. After reading the article the Huffington Post published, it made me very hesitant to even view them as a valid source. I believe this article completely discredited the Huffington Post. They did not have actual justification for making such a bold statement, and I think it hurt them in the long run. It shows that they are not fair and balanced, but that they are driven by emotional thinking. With this, I thank you.